Okay, hello everybody. Looks like we're live, so I'm sure you've all been up to date on the John Venus egg situation. So basically, what we're going to do here is go through the whole egg story with John. I think there's some more details that need to be fleshed out that John might not have shared on video, and then we're going to discuss the whole situation, whether or not he's vegan, whether or not what he did was appropriate, and maybe through some miracle we can come to some kind of understanding by the end of this. So, in your video, John, it's my understanding that you wanted to try eating eggs because you were worried your son wasn't going to get enough nutrition.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on, man. I've been waiting to talk to you for a very long time, so this is a pleasure. Yeah, man. So, I thought that I made it pretty clear in the video, but maybe, like, I could go and talk about this for hours, and we could go into as much detail as you want, because obviously it's important to get the story full context out. But yeah, like, obviously, part of the reason why I did it, as I said in the video, was because as first of all, it was a emotionally driven choice. It was not a very logical choice, but as me, as a new parent, I thought that that was a responsible thing to do, even though it doesn't make sense scientifically to do a short experiment like that. But, it was something that I wanted to do to make sure, even though, again, it might be complete bullshit reasoning, it was what I wanted to do to make sure that, I didn't feel any different or get any physical benefits out of, eating, a tiny bit of animal products. And if I felt some benefits, I would come to the conclusion that, maybe since I'm following a very, very balanced, well planned plant based diet, if I felt any benefit from animal protein or whatever, then there would be some questioning whether or not it would be good for my baby to do that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's actually go through the reasoning here.
Yeah.
So, this is what I got from your video. You weren't sure whether or not your son would get adequate or ideal nutrition eating a 100% plant based diet. So you wanted to try eating
Well,
eggs. Sorry?
yeah.
So you
Yeah.
wanted
No,
to
I mean, like,
try.
yeah.
Yeah,
Go
so
for it.
you
Go
wanted
for
to
it.
try eating eggs to see if it made you feel better. And if it made you feel better, you were going to consider feeding eggs or perhaps other animal products to your son.
Well, I wouldn't feed him straight away. I would, go and get it checked out, see what the reason for me feeling better was, by going to do some blood work and that kind of stuff. I wouldn't just, come to a conclusion and just, quit being vegan or feed my kid, uh, eggs or animal products straight away. Obviously, it would be to go and investigate, basically. But as you know, nothing happened. I didn't feel any benefits. I felt the opposite. I didn't eat that many eggs, so it was kind of a bullshit experiment anyway. But yeah, that was basically the reason for it. And it's not something that I wasn't expecting to feel, some crazy miracle or that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I was, struggling with an injury, my back injury. And even though no matter how stupid it sounds, after you struggle with an injury that long, um, it got me to some dark places mentally, and for some reason I thought it was a good idea to see if that would change the way that my physical state felt, so my back, for example. Even though, again, it doesn't make sense to expect that eating a couple eggs is going to make any difference anyway.
Okay, so this brings me to my first question.
Yep.
Your wife is a nutritionist. She's the one who writes all the nutrition plans for your online coaching business. What did she have to say about this?
About me eating the eggs.
Yeah.
She was not, obviously, like, she's an ethical vegan like me, so she was obviously not a big fan of it. I wasn't a big fan of the experiment either. But yeah, she didn't, obviously didn't want me to do it, but she respected my choice because, she could see that I was doing it for my own peace of mind as a dad to feel, more responsible. And that's just, how she thought. Yeah.
What do you mean? She was okay with you doing it?
Well, she didn't enjoy the idea, but she obviously, like, she wouldn't force me not to do it, right? So, whether or not that means she's okay with it, like,
Well,
yeah,
I
I don't
don't
know.
know how she could possibly force you not to do it. What I'm saying is, did she say, okay, we'll try it? Or did she say, no, I don't
I
want you to do that, that's stupid?
I can't remember, to be honest, but most likely it was the latter. Yeah, most
Okay,
likely.
okay, so most likely she said, don't do it, it's stupid, but you just did it anyway.
Yep, 100%.
Okay, so your wife is a nutritionist, and your wife is an ethical vegan, and you decided to, like, where did you even get this idea from? Just random retards online?
The idea of eating eggs. So basically, it's yeah. I mean, I can't disclose, like, I can't talk about every reason why I did this, but I have people in uh, a very close circle, people that have had some issues with certain nutrients,
So, like, friends of
and
yours?
yep, friends, family, whatever you want to call it. But some people had a couple of you know issues that was of concern, which obviously got me questioning certain things. And on top of that, having a lot of people and even friends who came out as ex-vegans who started eating animal products again. Obviously, a lot of them, as you know, they claim that just eating an egg made a huge difference, and they could see a massive difference. And you can't know how you feel, when you're used to a certain feeling until you try eating or living a certain different way. So um, it was kind of like the reason why I thought that it would be a worthwhile experiment, not because because of these anecdotal people saying that they felt better, but because of my close family and friends who were kind of struggling with a couple of things, and eventually obviously they were able to fix this issue on a vegan diet anyway. So it turned out that it was unnecessary, but still at that time I thought, why not? It's not going to I don't consider myself a meat eater or a non-vegan for doing a small experiment for my own peace of mind, even though I'm against eating eggs, or against the action that I took. And I thought it is an immoral act to take eggs from chickens and that kind of stuff. So obviously I'm against my own choice, but still I thought it was a worthwhile experiment
Okay, you
just
said
for
you're
my
against
own
your own
peace of mind.
choice. Okay, so you just said you're
Yeah.
against your own choice. That's the exact opposite of what you said in your video. You said, I think what I did was totally fine. I don't regret anything.
Well, I don't regret it because that was what I had to go through. I had to go through that to realize and to be, 100% confident. So it was worthwhile for me, but still, like,
Was
obviously
it
looking
worthwhile
back,
for the
and
chickens?
no, of course not. I mean, I
Because,
think it's pretty
like,
obvious.
that's the issue I have here. So, do you think it is vegan to do this sort of thing?
No, of course not. I mean, it's not vegan to eat eggs, is it?
Okay, so in your video, you were basically saying that you don't regret it. You don't have any, like, that's not something you actually regret doing. You and your brother basically try to brush it off as it's not a big deal. Like, it doesn't matter that you did this. So why would you
Mm,
say this in your video, but then at the same time, and by the way,
I,
like
I
while this
I
was
didn't say that in
happening,
the video.
you were claiming you were vegan. While this
Well,
was happening, you were claiming you were vegan, uploading videos like talking about vegan day of eating, blah blah blah. Like you never at any point said, you know what, I'm quitting veganism temporarily. I want to explore certain things. Like in your videos, you
yeah.
like very strongly. It might have been implicit, but it was a strong implication that you were suggesting that, well, it's totally fine. It's vegan to do these sorts of experiments where you exploit animals.
Yeah, I never said or encouraged anyone to do experimentations or eating animal products. I think if you watch the video, you can clearly see that I mentioned that several times. And I mentioned several times that it's not an ethical thing to eat backyard eggs or whatever. So yeah, I mean, like, it's not a and obviously I like just because you do something doesn't mean that you have to all of a sudden talk about it, right? Like just because you lose your virginity, you're not going to upload a video and tell the world that you just lost
I'm
your virginity, right?
constipated.
So and obviously like I wasn't even making videos at that point. Like that was when I was having a break from YouTube and that kind of stuff. And it was 1 or 2 days like that I ate 2 or 3 eggs. Like that's what happened. So obviously I didn't say I was vegan, because I didn't film those 2 days. So obviously I couldn't have said those things that you're mentioning. But
Okay, well, wait a second. I'm gonna turn on screen share.
sure.
Screen one, it should show.
So, but
Wait a
what's your
second.
point that you think that I should have
Not
just
application.
picked up the camera and filmed myself eating eggs, basically?
Well, this is what you actually said. People on stream should be able to hear this. I think you can hear it too, so I'll just play this.
Super passionate, a little bit pissed off right now. A couple days ago, I posted a
Yeah, I
video
can hear
about
it.
me experimenting with eggs. A very short experiment done in a way that I thought was worth it. But the video...
So, John, right there, you said the experiment. Oh, wait, I have to turn off screen share. So, John, right there, you said the experiment was worth it. So you're saying it's worth it to exploit animals?
I said the experiment was worth. I thought the experiment was worthwhile. That's what
So
I
you're
said.
saying
That
it's
doesn't mean that I
worthwhile
think
to
it's right.
exploit animals?
No, that's not what I said. I said it
That
was
is what you
a.
said.
Yeah, no, I didn't say that. So I said it
Well,
was
let's play
a
it back again.
worthwhile. I can't even hear the video, but yeah, could you
Well,
maybe
you
you could
said you
repeat it
can
back to
hear
me?
the video. Okay, I'll try and... I think you can, through Discord, hear it. So just listen.
No.
Super passionate, a little bit pissed off right now. A couple days
There's
ago,
no
I
sound.
posted a video about me experimenting with eggs. A very short experiment done in a way that I thought was worth it. But the video...
Okay, so right there, you said the experiment was worth it. So when you're telling people...
Is that the words that I said? The experiment was worth
you
it?
said I did this experiment in a way that I thought it was worth it. That's exactly what you just said. So
that I thought
in,
at that time it was worth it.
okay, so you only thought at that time it was worth it.
Of course.
Okay, so right now you'd say it wasn't worth it.
Of course.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
I think every vegan would like think it's not a worthwhile thing to do.
Okay, cool. So you don't encourage anyone to do any kind of experiment like this where they eat eggs or something?
No, as I said in the other video, I don't encourage anyone unless there is absolutely if they've tried. What I said in the other video is if someone has tried absolutely everything and they just can't leave the idea behind, and it's the only thing they can do, and they have to experiment, then do it. But try absolutely everything else first, because
What do you mean? Okay, what do you mean by that? Go in further detail. Like, try, if they have to do this, like, what would require somebody to eat animal products?
So if someone is not able to overcome their issues, mental issues, or for example, for me, it was a psychological, it was an emotional thing that I was going through, and for me, for some reason, I had to go through that to come out the other side and realize certain things, right? So if
you're
that is the
saying
case
what
for
you
someone,
did was justified?
no, but it was
Okay, well, you just said you
justified in
had
my
to do
mind,
it.
but it,
Well, wait a second. You just said that if somebody has to do it to have mental peace of mind, then, go ahead and eat animal products. So you just said you had to do it, so did you have to do it to have mental peace
well,
of mind?
I mean, no one has to do anything, right? But if you believe that you cannot, progress and, come to peace with yourself without doing something like that you, feel is unethical, but you want to do it anyway. If you can't move on without doing it, then what are you going to say? Like, if the alternative is to live your life in fear of missing out on a certain nutrient or something like that, I would say that it's much better to have a small experiment than to live your entire life in fear and in an unhealthy way.
Okay, so you're saying curiosity essentially justifies
Not really.
needlessly supporting animal abuse.
No,
That's literally what you're saying. You're
I'm
saying
saying,
curiosity.
I didn't say curiosity. I said in order to overcome mental issues.
Well, that's exploring curiosity. Like, okay, if you have a
If you
mental
want to put it
issue,
that way.
well, look, if you have a mental issue where you're not sure whether or not a vegan diet is totally,
Yeah.
I don't know, healthy, the ideal diet, you're satisfying that curiosity by doing these experiments. I'd call it just
Hmm.
animal abuse. So, are you saying that
Yeah.
it's morally justified to commit animal abuse if you're just curious as to whether or not, a vegan diet is ideal?
Well, it's not morally justified at all, but it's maybe it is justified for that person, but it's not
Then,
objectively justified, or it's not something that is positive
look,
for the animals.
okay, you're just playing word games here. So
So are you?
just a moment ago, no, just a moment ago, you were saying that, you know what, if you feel like, this is a mental burden on you and you explore every alternative possible to try and relieve
Hmm.
this mental burden, but you're still not satisfied,
Yep.
then, go ahead and eat animal products. That's what you just said. So you're
Not
essentially
satisfied, but if you're not able to overcome your mental challenges, then I would definitely health and mental health comes first. And I would say, like, for me, if I would not be able to overcome my own depression, for example, without having one egg, then I would say it's worth having that egg so that I can move on and become a productive human being and a productive vegan and spreading the message. So it depends how you look at things, but
okay,
from my point of view,
so your own personal feelings
yep.
justifies needlessly supporting animal abuse. That's what you're saying. And this
If you
brings
want to
us
put it that
like
way,
this
sure.
look, this brings us to the next point I was going to bring up. Let's
Yeah.
say in a alternate universe, your copy of you in an alternate universe did this exact same experiment, but it turned out that after you ate these eggs, you felt way better. You felt 10
Hmm.
times better. And you even
Yeah.
got blood work done, your blood work improved. Let's say your cholesterol was lower, your markers of inflammation was lower, your, I don't know, vitamin and mineral status went up. What would you have done then?
What would I have done? Well, I would have, explored that further by, realizing what is in the egg that maybe I might have been missing, and
Well, let's
try
say you
to
could
get
only
that
get
from
it
a
from
plant
eggs.
source.
Let's say
If I
in
could,
this hypothetical universe, you could only have gotten this from eggs.
and I could only heal myself by eating eggs. You mean?
Yeah, sure.
What are you asking? If it's morally justified to eat eggs, if it's the only way to heal yourself?
Yeah, if like you're saying you have a back injury.
Yep.
Let's say after eating eggs, your back injury cleared right up, and the only thing that would have cured it was eggs. Do you think
Yep.
it's morally justified to eat eggs?
Yes.
Okay, so I would say right then and there, you're not vegan. Veganism isn't about you. It's not about your own personal well-being. It's about reducing unnecessary suffering and death. Do you think it's
Do you
absolutely
do you
necessary,
think
John?
do you
No,
think that
John.
people would do you think people would most vegans would agree that you have to, like, in order to be vegan, it means that you should sacrifice your own health and your own well-being in order
Okay,
to be vegan.
John.
Obviously that is not,
Okay,
luckily it's
John.
not the case,
Okay,
but
John,
in
listen.
this
Okay,
hypothetical
well,
world that you're
listen.
talking about, obviously you can't
Listen.
expect people to kill themselves before eating animals. That doesn't
Okay,
make
well,
any
John,
sense.
were you dying? Because
Well,
it sounds
that's
like
what
you
I'm
only had
saying.
a back injury.
I'm not. This is a hypothetical situation, not a real one.
Okay, well, John, we're talking about the particular situation you were in. Let's say eggs cured your back injury, okay, in this alternate
Yeah.
reality. Do you think that's justification for you to, basically support this industry where male chicks are killed, chickens are forcibly
Not my
bred?
back injury.
Sorry?
Not my back injury, because I didn't have a severe injury or anything like that. But if I had if I had brain damage, or if it was a serious health condition or something, yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, John, we're talking about the situation that you're in right now, not
Yeah. So
any
obviously
other
not.
kind of
Yeah.
situation. So why did you do this in the first place if you think that it would be unjustified anyway?
Well, because humans are irrational, humans are stupid, humans make emotional decisions. Like, you can't expect everyone to make logical decisions all the time. And that's, at that time, was something that I felt like I had to do, and that's it. It's operating from an emotional place rather than a logical place. And I know that you have experience with this. I know you've had depression. I know you've had a lot of psychological issues. So I know that you don't think the same way when you're in a suboptimal state of mind than when you
Yeah,
are
the
at an
difference
optimal state of
between me
mind.
and you, John, is I don't think about harming innocent animals to see if there's a way out of the situation.
Um, yeah, I mean, okay, sure, I'll take that.
Okay, so do you actually think you're vegan, John?
I don't think I know I am vegan.
Okay, so what makes you vegan?
What makes me vegan?
Yeah.
Well, what does being vegan mean?
Yeah, it means reducing as much as practically possible any unnecessary suffering, death, and exploitation committed against animals. So do you think you do that?
Exactly. I don't think so. I know I do.
Okay, so then why did you eat eggs?
Well, that was a year ago.
Yeah, that was.
So does that mean that I'm not vegan now?
Well, I don't know, John. Why did you even come out with this a year later?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good point, and obviously, it is something that I wanted to talk about way, earlier. But at the same time, I didn't feel like, I wanted the crazy. It was right after the video that I did that was about the label and that kind of stuff. So coming out with that video or explaining that afterwards as well would have been, a little bit of a situation that I wasn't in a mental state to deal with personally,
So basically, it
and
would
I
have
didn't
made
feel
you
like I
look a
needed.
lot worse, and you didn't want to do that.
Not really. I just didn't feel comfortable with sharing it because I wasn't comfortable in my own state of mind at the time. So, and I think that is a justifiable reason
So
not to talk about something the moment it happens.
which came first, this egg experiment or the video where you were saying that you don't identify as vegan anymore?
Which video came first, or what came
No, like
first?
what came first, the egg experiment or the video you put out where you said you don't identify as vegan anymore?
Yeah, the video came first, and then the experiment came like straight after. Yeah.
Okay, and why did you delete that video?
The label video.
Yeah.
Um, well, I deleted because I wasn't in agreement with how I said certain things. Um, Again, I was at a very dark place in my life. So obviously, when you look back and you realize you said things that you didn't really want to say, obviously, like on social media, things happen. Like, I've made hundreds and hundreds of videos, and eventually something's going to go wrong. And that was one of those times where I obviously said things that I didn't want to say. And maybe I misspoke in certain ways. I threw words like "I don't care," which is obviously not true, because every single action that I take in my life since being vegan, apart from the egg experiment, has been in alignment with that. So yeah, I took it down because it didn't reflect what I truly believe in.
Okay, so here's the thing. There's it's not just that you waited a year to say this. Um, it's like everything combined. In your last two videos, you were very unapologetic about what happened. I got the sense that you said multiple times that you don't regret anything. You even said like even in this live stream that if you explore every avenue, if you're really worried about getting enough nutrition on a vegan diet,
Hmm.
then like go ahead and eat animal products. Is this
No,
really
I'm saying
something?
if there is no other route, are you
Right.
gonna
So
like?
basically, right. So basically, you're saying that your own personal feelings justifies needless animal abuse.
No, I'm saying if you need it for survival and your health,
Well,
then,
no, that's not
but
what you
which is not
said.
the
You
case.
said for just, like, no, you didn't even say for mental well-being. You were basically saying just for peace of mind.
Well, peace of mind because, of mental well-being, right? Because, if you are, for me personally, I was in a bad place mentally. So for my peace of mind to get past that mental state, that is what I chose to do. And I don't agree with what I did, but that's what I did. And
Right, but
I'm not ashamed of it. I'm actually, really happy that I'm able to, talk about this and not give a, shit about what you say or anyone else says,
well,
because I'm
look,
comfortable in my actions. I know what I want to do in the world. I know that I'm 100% vegan, and I feel like I have a much more positive impact than a negative impact. So,
look. This is something I mentioned. I don't know if you saw my latest video all the way through, but if you
no.
had come out with this, pretty much right around when it happened, like even a month or two later, I could understand why you wouldn't want to share it right away. If you had just come out and said, like, hey guys, I ate, a bunch of eggs. I thought about it later. It was a really stupid fucking idea. I don't even know what I was thinking. It was wrong. It was immoral, but, I've learned my lesson now. Like, I've gotten better mental clarity from this, and I'm not going to do anything like that again. I wouldn't have
Hmm.
cared. I would have made these videos. But instead, basically what you did was you said, you know what, I did this. I don't regret it. And you know what, like all this criticism I'm getting for doing this, well, you're all just a bunch of haters. You're all just haters. And you also implicitly stated that, if you want better mental well-being, like a peace of mind, if you're wondering whether or not a vegan diet is healthy or not, go and do an experiment like this. Eat some eggs. So that's my
Hello?
issue with this. And that, look, that's just not something a vegan would do. That's not how a vegan would behave. Um, so that's
Yeah,
my
I'm sorry,
main
you just
issue
cut
with
off.
this. Okay,
Yeah.
where did you miss what I just said? At what point did I cut out?
Um, Pretty much after you said that you wouldn't have a problem with the video that I made if
Oh,
you came
okay.
up with it earlier.
Okay, so I wouldn't have had a problem with the video you made I wouldn't have had a problem with you coming out and admitting you ate eggs if you admitted to it shortly after it happened, and on top of that, like, look, let's say the time frame is the same, a year later. What really irked me about it was that instead of saying what I did was stupid, it was wrong, I wasn't thinking straight in that moment, but after this whole situation happened, I realized what I did was wrong. It's not going to happen again. You didn't do that. You basically said, I
Yep.
did nothing wrong, I don't regret anything, and all you people who are criticizing me, you're just
Um,
haters.
yeah, that's definitely not what I did. I think anyone that watches the video sees that now. I will say that I could have made a better point of, you know, actually saying how I actually felt about the experiment in hindsight, like how I feel now about the experiment. But I was trying to explain why I did it at that time, and that is why I, came across as unapologetic, is because I was not, I am unapologetic at the time of doing something. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. So,
Okay, well, let's just listen to what you actually said in your
yeah,
video again.
sure.
I was still eating my regular diet on top of the egg, so nothing else changed. And I'm okay with my choice, and I'm 100% understanding that other
Yeah,
people
you'll
feel the
have to
need to
repeat that.
experiment due to fear, due to peer pressure, due to whatever reason. I understand why people, want to experiment. And I don't think that it makes you a bad person for wanting to do good by your own body and your family and your kids. And I get messages every single day.
So what does that suggest, John? Like you're saying that you don't feel bad about it. You understand why other people would do it. And you know what? It's totally worth supporting animal abuse if you think it will make you feel better, be healthier. Is that the vegan
Yeah,
message?
that's not what I said. I couldn't
That
hear
is
the
what you
audio,
said.
but that's not what I said. What I said in that video was that I experimented with eggs because I thought that that was a responsible thing to do at that time because of my state of mind at that time. I thought it was a responsible thing to do to test on myself to see if I could feel any benefit. And that's all I said. I didn't say it was like it was a good thing. I didn't promote it. Didn't say it was a
Exploited.
a great thing, a great experience, a positive thing at all. I said it was a unethical thing to do, actually.
Okay, can you hear the audio at all?
No,
Okay, well,
no.
look, I'll copy video at current time. So I'll just leave this in the chat here. So I'm just going to play this again so that everyone can see and just listen along with us.
Sure.
So I'm just going to play it now.
You know, for these experiments to be as accurate as possible, even though anecdotal experiments are horse shit, I just didn't feel like I wanted to, you know, exploit these chickens and do this anymore. So after that dozen eggs in the span of 3 days, I just said, you know, I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling, you know, worse than when I started. I'm constipated. I was still eating my regular diet on top of the eggs, so nothing else changed. And I'm okay with my choice, and I'm 100% understanding that other people feel the need to experiment due to fear, due to peer pressure, due to whatever reason. I understand why people, you know, want to experiment. And I don't think that it makes you a bad person for wanting to do good by your own body and your family and your kids. And I get messages every single day on Instagram.
So look, you said
I
you're...
said I understand people. I understand
You
why
said you're
people
okay
would
with
do
your
it because
choice.
of fear.
You said you're okay with your choice, and you said, I understand why some people would want to do it, and you said, I don't think it makes a bad person for anyone doing this. So, look,
Do you
John,
think it makes? Do you think someone is a bad person for
look, it's,
getting peer pressured into eating an egg?
look, I think, I think if you allow peer pressure to make you do something that's immoral, then yeah, that is a strike against your character, John. If I don't
Yeah,
care
I
who's
mean that's
peer
not me.
pressuring
I
you.
didn't do.
Look, I don't
Yeah.
care who's peer pressuring you. If you could have your closest friend's family telling you that, you know what, you should support animals being forcibly bred, having their male offspring killed in a blender while they're fully conscious, and giving these animals reproductive diseases just because of how they're selectively bred. I don't care who's peer pressuring you to, like, trying to convince you to do that. If you do it, it's wrong. That is a strike against your character, John. So for you to say,
I didn't
look,
say anything against that. What I said is I understand psychologically why people would cave in
that's
because
totally
of peer
different than what
pressure,
you
because
said.
of fear. No, that's exactly
That's
what I
different
said.
from what you said. No, you're just cherry picking one thing that you said. You said you're okay with your decision. John, why would you be okay with the decision where you supported an industry that forcibly breeds animals, murders their male offspring, and modifies their genes through selective breeding that ensures that they will suffer and die from reproductive
Well,
diseases? Why would you
yeah,
say
but
you're okay with that choice?
well, that's a cherry-picked statement as well because I also say that it
That's what
was
you've
not
said.
an ethical thing to do.
Well,
So,
John,
which one do you want to go with?
John, okay, so you're saying that what you say is just completely incoherent? Like, is this a tactic of yours where you say completely contradictory things so that you could say, well, you know what, I said this too, so, you know, like,
No, I
what are
mean,
we
like,
supposed to believe here? Like, John, just tell us. Like, just
what's the
be,
question?
no, like, John, just tell us. Is what
What's
you
the
did
question?
wrong? Is what you did wrong?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's wrong from an objective standpoint, but from my subjective standpoint at that time, while going through it, it wasn't a wrong thing to do.
Okay, so John,
But I
would you
think
say
it's
the
a wrong
same
thing to
thing?
do.
Okay, John, would you say the same thing about school shooters? I'm sure most school shooters, as they were murdering
Same
people,
thing, right?
thought it was a good idea. Like, what does it matter what your your subjective thoughts in your head were at the time? Was it wrong or not?
Yeah, I mean, like, if it wasn't wrong, I wouldn't have, like, if I didn't think that was wrong, I wouldn't be a vegan. So, like, I don't
So
know why
what you
you
did
would
was
even.
wrong. Okay, so what you did was wrong. You
Yeah,
agree
I
with
mean,
that?
of course. Yeah.
Okay, do you regret doing it?
I mean, like, yeah, of course, I regret doing it now in hindsight, but do I think that would I've gotten to the point where I am now, and would I've had that confidence that I have in the vegan lifestyle without doing it? I can't say. So yeah, like obviously, if I could have done it in a much better way and not doing it at all, and just kept going like I always had, then of course I would have preferred that outcome for sure.
Okay, so do you regret doing it or not?
Yeah, I mean, like I would have preferred a different outcome. So yeah, I regret doing that compared to, doing something else for sure.
Okay, and would you say it's not vegan to do this under any circumstance?
I mean, it's not a vegan thing to experiment, right?
Right.
With to eat animal products. So I've never claimed that to be a vegan thing.
Okay. So here's my fundamental issue here. You tried to pass it off as it's not a big deal. Doesn't matter. Your brother Leo Venus did the same thing. This doesn't matter. He just did it a little bit. Look, under the scope of veganism, there's no amount of unnecessary suffering, abuse, exploitation that's acceptable. So look, if you
So what's your point?
recognize so look, if you recognize that what you did was morally wrong, you regret doing it, and you're going to ensure that you don't do it in the future. Um, look,
As I said in the video.
that satisfies me. But well, it's not like that's really not what you said in the video. And honestly, the amount of lies I've just seen coming through your mouth, John, like I think you're just trying to like appease the stream. Just say you're. I think you're just giving me answers that you think I want to hear. But whatever.
Um,
I can't look into
okay.
your mind and show everybody your actual thoughts, but that's what I'm gathering. So look, I think that
Um,
satisfies me.
I mean, if there is any, I mean, like obviously, like the video is about my actual. It's not about how I feel right now and about vegan ethics. I think everyone knows my stance on that. So obviously, I didn't focus on that. Maybe I should have. Obviously, I could have planned a video and made a more careful script or something. But again, like I just thought I'd pick up the camera and hit the record and do whatever and say whatever comes to mind. And that's that's what I always do. I don't plan any videos, and it came out like that. And I understand why people look at that and it seems maybe unapologetic. But again, from people who have followed me the whole journey, like the response was very very positive from everyone. Not everyone, but I'd say 80 to 85% of the people before you sent the traffic over was understanding and positive because they had the context that a lot of other people don't have. If you don't have the context and you watch this, of course you're gonna think I'm a piece of shit. But
Well,
like
no, I
I'm not
think
making
no, John. I think you're confused. Look, your own fan base is a bunch of coddling nut huggers. Same with your brother. Like, look, like he's your brother, and a lot of your fans on your own channel, they're going to be just nut hugging morons who will agree with whatever the fuck you do. Look what happened to Vegetable Police. He had a vastly vegan audience. Look at the positive comments he got from fucking morons who were fans of his after he chose to go on a carnivore diet. So you claiming that, everyone thinks this is a positive thing, like what I did, like everybody's okay with it. No, that's not reality. That's just
yeah,
your
I
own
didn't say it was
stupid fan base.
yeah, I didn't say that people thought it was a positive thing. I'm saying that people understood the context behind it.
Look, the context behind it was absolutely downright stupid. You had
No, it
no
wasn't.
fucking justifiable
You have
reason to
no,
do
you
it.
have no idea.
So what are
I,
you
I
talking
have
about?
every. Yeah, no, I mean you have zero. Like, how can you say it's not justified, or if it's a
So
super
okay,
stupid
so
idea if you have no,
John, are
you
you
don't have
actually
context for
contradicting
it.
yourself again, saying that what you did was justified?
No, I mean like I'm saying that you have no idea how I felt internally at that time.
Doesn't matter how you
So how
felt.
can you say?
Doesn't
Of
matter how
course
you
it
felt.
matters.
No,
Of
it
course it
doesn't.
matters.
Do you think okay, if I went and shot up a shopping mall, do you think a court is
Yeah,
going to give a shit if how I felt at the time?
yeah, of
Like,
course.
John, you did something wrong, and the reason you did it was fucking stupid. Simple as
Yeah, I
that.
don't
Doesn't
disagree with
matter how
that.
you fucking felt.
I
How do you think the
haven't
animals
disagreed
feel
with
in
that.
these industries? Like, again, you're trying to play the victim. How do you think these animals feel in these
How
industries?
am
Do
I
you think
trying
you
to play the
feel like
victim here?
John? Do you honestly think you feel worse than these chickens who are being selectively bred, forcibly bred? Their male offspring are being fucking murdered by being thrown inside of a fucking blender, and then
Yep.
later on in life they're going to end up dying of genetic
Look,
diseases because of the way they're fucking bred. Like, you're not the victim here. I don't give a shit if you felt so bad. Oh, do I need to eat eggs? Am I going to feel better from eating eggs? I don't give a shit about the internal conflict that was going on, John.
yeah.
It's clear to me, even at the time, you knew that what you were doing was wrong. You even said you weren't a fan of this. So why did you go through and do it?
Well, I wouldn't expect you, and we don't need to go into psychology and why you wouldn't understand this and your personal background and stuff. But I don't expect you to understand, how, emotions play a role in people's
You're just
actions.
selfish. You only care about your own emotions. That's what it is. You don't care about the animals. You only cared about yourself. You weren't thinking about the animals.
Right. Well,
Look,
how do you
John, I've been
justify
through tons
personally?
of shit. I've had suicidal fucking depression since I was very young, 6
Yep.
years old. I know all about feeling bad. But guess what? I don't try to pick on animals. I don't try to exploit animals just to try to crawl myself out of these situations. So that's the difference between you and me, and I think that's the difference that
Are you
makes
saying
you
that you're
not
a perfect
vegan.
vegan?
Sorry?
Are you saying that you're a perfect vegan, or that you're more vegan than me?
Oh, I am more vegan than you.
How?
Well, look, this situation. I've never deliberately tried to exploit, cause the suffering and death of animals because I felt bad. I wanted to do a little experiment to see if eggs
But
would make me feel better.
yeah, I don't want to go into your story and stuff, but you did buy a dog from a breeder, which
Okay,
is
well,
way, way worse
John, I
than
know where you're
eating
going with
two
this. I
eggs.
know where
I'm
you're
not
going with this,
anywhere.
and I
I'm
can
just saying
explain the
that
whole
you're not a
situation
perfect
if you'd
vegan.
care to hear.
No, I don't care.
Okay,
I'm just
well,
saying that
guess
you're not
what?
perfect, man.
Well, guess what?
You're not
We were
perfect. I'm not
friends. We were
perfect.
personal
No one's
friends with this
perfect.
dog breeder. At the time, we didn't know she was a dog breeder. We thought
Sure.
she had just we thought she had just
Sure.
owned a dog. She was saying, she doesn't have the financial means to take care of the dog, so we adopted the dog. We didn't pay $2,000 or whatever the fuck she'd normally
Sure.
charge for these dogs. So we only paid for the dog's vet bills and the plane flight over here. After the fact, we found out this dog came from a breeder, and then this lady
And
tried to get the
then,
dog back because she was just
and
insane.
why did you give it away afterwards?
Because it wasn't doing well in our apartment, so we just gave it away. Right now, she's living on a horse farm. So yeah, the dog wasn't doing well in our apartment. She was nervous all the time. She didn't like us leaving the apartment, so we gave her to a better home because we actually cared about the dog.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
look,
dogs
John.
have great intuition.
So, look, John. I think you've proven my point here.
So how are you, how are you morally superior? How do you think that you are
Well,
a
John, I don't
better
put myself
vegan? If
first.
look, like, let me just say, like, and I'm not here to shit on you and that kind of stuff. And I understand what I did was wrong, and I regret doing it and that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But you, you trying to make yourself feel better by, shitting on me and constantly
No, that's
trying
not what I'm
to.
doing.
I mean, like, you always do that with. I mean, that's your job, right? You criticize other people, and
Yeah, I
you try
criticize other
to.
people, and my
Yeah, with
criticisms are
hate.
totally justified.
I don't think it's justified to make fun of people who are dying of cancer and that kind of stuff, for example.
Okay,
But
so when those people, I know who you're talking about, Furious Pete, when these people make T-shirts making fun of animals that they
no,
directly
not
supported the
justified.
suffering and death of, you think
Not
that's
justified.
inappropriate? So
Of course.
people who dish it out shouldn't be forced to take it.
Look, 99% of vegans will agree that it's not justified to, make fun of someone for dying or for having cancer just because they eat animal products, and
It's
they
not
make
just
fun of
because. No,
vegans,
it
and
wasn't
because
just because
they
he
make
ate
fun of
animal
animal
products. It
suffering.
wasn't just because he made fun of vegans. He was making fun of the unnecessary suffering and death of animals. He was selling a T-shirt
Even so,
where a
even
cow was
so.
getting stabbed with a fork, making fun of the whole process of animal
Yeah,
slaughter. So you think
even
it's
so.
unjustified for me to say, "Ha ha, you're dying of cancer"? He's doing the exact same thing to the animals. So
It's not
you don't think
unjustified. I'm
people
just
should get a
saying that
taste of their
it's
own medicine?
what I'm saying is that you are not, so vegan as you think you are, because your actions push people away from what you're trying to achieve. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, John, just because people get offended, that doesn't make me vegan, okay? People can get
No, that's
offended
not what
at
I'm
my
saying.
political beliefs. People can get offended about my beliefs on abortion. And I'm sure that turns some people off of veganism because I'm a vegan, they're exposed to that, they make these associations. Guess what? I'm entitled to my own fucking opinions. Claiming that people get offended by my opinions isn't a fucking mark against me. That's their own fucking personal
Well,
issue.
would you say
So
it's a vegan thing to would you say it's vegan to push people who were on the fence of veganism further away from veganism and pushing them towards eating more meat because after they watch a video of yours? Would you say that is a
John, you're basically saying that I'm not allowed to get anyone offended. That's
No,
literally
that's
what you're
not what I'm
saying.
saying. I'm talking about real
So
life
John,
results.
yeah, so John, in
results.
real life, guess what? In real life, my opinions on abortion have pushed people away from veganism. I've literally seen comments of people saying, "Oh my God, I didn't realize veganism was some sort of abortion cult." So are you saying that I'm not allowed to have any kind of political opinion, any opinion at all that offends somebody? Because it could potentially push somebody away from veganism? This is complete fucking nonsense.
No, what I'm saying is that you're saying that you're more vegan than I am, or whatever
Yeah, I
that
am,
means. And
because
don't give a
I
shit.
don't. Yeah, I am more
No,
vegan than you because guess what?
nope.
You don't care about the animals as much. You're totally willing to throw animals under the bus if it benefits you.
Well,
That's
I
the difference
wouldn't.
between me and you.
Well, I would never. I love dogs. I would never, do what you did to your dog, for example. And that's
What did I do to my
already
dog,
like.
John? No, what did I do to my dog, John?
Well, I know that you haven't maybe grown up with dogs and that kind of stuff, but obviously, like, the ease in which you got rid of it, it's like
So you're
it
telling
just
me
doesn't make any
me
sense.
caring about my dog and bringing it to a better home so it can live a
What I'm
better
saying is
life.
that what I'm
That
saying is that
makes
you're
me
not
a bad
perfect.
person.
What I'm saying is that you're not
No,
perfect, and
John. No,
you're
John.
not a single
No,
drop
no,
more vegan
John,
than I
John,
am.
you singled
No, no,
out. No,
this
John,
is
you
not
singled
this
out
is
the
nothing.
situation. No,
This is
John,
nothing
would
to
it have
argue
been
about.
better? No, John, tell me what the ideal, perfect vegan decision would be. My dog wasn't doing well in our apartment. She was constantly nervous. She was miserable. So, what would the perfect vegan decision be? Keep the dog in my apartment where it's constantly nervous and miserable, or give it away to a better home where she can live a good life, where she's not nervous, she's perfectly fine and well adjusted. So
Oh
what's the
yeah,
ideal situation there, John?
I mean 100%. You did the right thing, but
Okay,
getting it
so
in the
then
first
what the
place
fuck are you
was a
talking
mistake,
about?
right?
What are you talking about then?
Buying and supporting breeders was the mistake in the first place.
Okay,
You
well, I
did
didn't
the
know the
right thing out
person
of the
was a
situation.
breeder, and we didn't buy the dog, we
Are we
adopted it.
supposed to believe? And everyone's supposed to believe that, but no one's supposed to believe what I'm saying, right?
Well, John, you literally admitted that you directly contradict yourself multiple times in your own videos.
Of
So,
course, like life is a contradiction, man.
okay, so you're telling me that you're more trustworthy than I am.
Oh, 100%. You can ask any person
Okay.
who knows me in real life, and
Okay, cool,
uh,
John.
and any person you like. You can go to any vegan activist that I know in person. Any
Okay, well, here's the thing, John.
health person, fitness dude. You can family
Okay, well,
members. You can ask anyone, and you know people are gonna say that I'm the most trustworthy or one of the most trustworthy people
that's
out
why
there
you
because that
delete
is the truth.
videos. That's why you made up a bunch of lies about me. What about that video you made making up a bunch of lies about how we had like a 3 hour long Skype call, how I convinced you to eat at 3 different fast food restaurants? A bunch of horseshit that you eventually deleted. So what's the deal with that? You're more trustworthy? You haven't exactly been
Um,
honest with me.
what?
Getting back on topic,
Hmm.
I think you have an inability to really put yourself in these animals' position. So the difference between you and me is, I don't put myself first. Look, I don't matter so much that if I have an achy back, if I question, is a vegan diet totally optimal? I'm not going to go out and experiment and fuck with these animals, support an
You do put
industry that I
yourself first,
morally
man.
disagree with. So
You put
look,
yourself
John.
first.
So John, let's say if you were in this position, let's say aliens.
Everyone puts himself
Look,
first.
no, look. Let's say you were in the same position as this chicken. Let's say you were being forcibly bred. You were part of this human industry where I don't know, people don't lay eggs. Let's say humans wanted our shit. Let's say you were. Let's say female chicks. They don't produce as much shit as male chicks. So the female, humans.
What's your
So
point,
the
dude?
female human, yeah, let's say the female humans are getting murdered at birth, and let's say the male humans are bred in a way where they produce just an excessive amount of shit to the point where they end up dying of genetic diseases. Do you think it'd be totally fine if aliens who, wanted to see if, I don't agree with this human shit industry. I don't agree with it morally, but you know what? I just want to see, like, is human shit gonna make me feel better? Do you think it would be morally justified for an alien to put you in that sort of position just to see if it feels better. Let's see if my back, issue kind of improves a bit after eating human shit and supporting an industry that murders people, that exploits them, that modifies their genes so they suffer and die.
John, I'm not understanding your question. Like, obviously,
John, obviously
we're
you'd
vegan,
be against
man. Like,
that.
obviously, exactly, man. I mean,
So
this is
that's the
point
difference.
of being
The
vegan.
only reason, look, John, the only reason you fucking did it, the only reason you pulled the trigger and started eating eggs, even though it
I
was
didn't start eating
only a
eggs.
short-term experiment where you only ate 12 eggs. Look, the only reason you
It was
pulled the
3.
trigger was because you cared more about yourself than the animals, when that was totally unjustified.
I mean, everyone cares more about themselves than the animals. Everyone does.
Oh, really?
And claiming that you don't means that you don't fully understand, what it means to be a human being. But, I don't blame you if you disagree with that.
Okay, so to what extent
doesn't
do we
make it
matter
ju-
more? So to what extent do we matter more? Do you think we matter more to an extent where it's totally fine
I'm
to
not saying we
kill their
actually
male offspring,
objectively matter more, but
modify
everyone
their
believes that they
genes so
matter
they
more.
die of genetic diseases? To what extent do we matter more?
Well, are you saying that if you would not eat animals if you knew you were going to die in a month if you didn't? And
No.
if you say
I wouldn't. I don't care.
you wouldn't eat animals.
No.
Yeah, and you think that is the same answer that everyone else who is
I don't
vegan
care what
would give?
everyone else will give. Look, John.
But what does that
look,
say about you?
Look, John, that says I'm not so selfish that I think I'm at the center of the universe where I can just murder things because my back kind of hurts. It hasn't been getting better in a while.
Yeah, but if you're gonna kill yourself, for the animals, what's the point?
Look, John,
No, answer, man. Like, I'm interested.
Look, John, this is a moral topic that is outside of the scope of the actual discussion. So I'm not
Not
going to
really,
bother right
because,
now.
I
Look,
think
I'm not going to bother
I think
right
it's
now.
important
Look,
for people
what were
to
your
get the
health
context.
issues? Look, what were your health issues that you were actually thinking of? Like that you were having issues with before you ate these eggs? Bad back. I know that. What else?
Yeah.
Were you just feeling kind of down, depressed?
For a very short period, I felt some depression, for sure. But the only physical, symptom I had was the herniated disc, which I had for 14 months.
Okay, well, cool, John. So I had suicidal depression since I was about 6 years old, and look, I've had multiple knee surgeries on this knee. It's fucked. It doesn't even bend properly. I didn't eat eggs. So what is that?
What's your point?
Does that show a difference between me and you?
Yeah, it shows that we're different people.
Yeah,
And
well,
it does not show that you're better.
At the very least, shows that I'm not. I'm not. I don't know. I have an IQ below 80. No, look, I think that does show that I'm not so selfish that I'm willing to just experiment with supporting an industry that forcibly breeds animals, kills their male offspring, and modifies their genes through selective breeding that ensures that they will die a horrible, slow death from reproductive-related diseases.
Look, this is why a lot of people don't, that's why a lot of people don't even want to get involved with veganism. It's because of your mentality, this black and white thing. It's
this
just
black and white mentality where I think unnecessary suffering, death, and exploitation is wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying that I'm not vegan, you did it, you're a bad person, blah, 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 because of that one experiment. I mean, that is a very black and white way of thinking.
Look, John, this isn't just about one experiment. This is you refusing to acknowledge that what you did was wrong, like the actual gravity of the situation.
What do you mean? I've actually said that many times already.
Okay, you know what? Let's actually pull something up here because I think this is some good proof of what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm just going to screen cap this.
We have to be practical with, veganism. If people, aren't perfect, that's better than having them become full-blown carnivores.
So let's see. Somebody commented on your latest video, please just stop. It's clear you just want the views. You were wrong. Just say I was wrong. I made a mistake. No need to keep this pathetic controversy going. And then you commented, of course I want the views. This is YouTube. So, John,
everyone on like
This
we're
is so,
make-
John. This is the point I'm making. You
social
you
media
just totally
videos
refuse to
are for
acknowledge.
views.
You totally refuse to acknowledge that what you did was wrong. You keep saying it
I've
wasn't
told you
that
many
big of a
times.
deal. I don't regret anything. You know what? I think I made the right choice.
On the
and then
look.
and then your brother Leo, who's just hugging your fucking nuts, says it's not a big deal. Forget about it. Just forget about it. So that's
Look,
the issue,
it-
John. Look,
look,
John,
you
if
have
you would
to
just
look at
fucking
the
come out and
big-
say, John, if
you
you
have
would
to
just
look at
come
the
out and
bigger
say,
picture.
listen, if
What
you would just
the
come out
bigger
and say,
picture is-
what I did was fucking stupid, I had no good reason to do it, I wasn't in the right state of mind, I totally regret it, I'll never do that again. This would have been a different story. I wouldn't have had a fucking issue. And I would have no problem calling you vegan right now. But you're just playing this fucking word
I mean,
games, mental gymnastics,
this-
refusing to
this is a
acknowledge that
lie
what
as
you did
well.
was wrong, trying to play the
this is a
victim.
lie.
Sorry?
This is a lie because this is a complete lie because you on the video where I was talking about the label issue, you called me out by saying that I'm no longer vegan with the title on the YouTube video.
That's what you titled it.
John Venus is no
That's
longer
what you titled it.
vegan.
That's what
I
you
never
titled
titled
it.
that. Nope.
You did. You changed
Nope.
the title
Nope.
twice before you
Nope.
took the video
Nope.
down. The original
Nope.
title
Nope.
was
Nope.
I'm
Nope.
no
Nope.
longer vegan.
Nope.
Absolutely was. No, it absolutely was. Maybe you're misremembering or deliberately lying, but that was the title. It absolutely was. You changed it.
Nope.
There was an original title,
Sorry,
you
man.
changed the title, then you took the video down.
Yes, that's right. But the title was never.
So you
I'm no
changed the
longer
title.
vegan.
So you admit you changed
Of course.
the title,
I changed the title,
while
but
it was
my
up.
title wasn't.
Right.
Yeah, but my title was never I'm no longer vegan.
Yeah, yes, it was. It included something along that line, like I'm quitting veganism. I'm no longer vegan.
No.
I'm no longer identifying as vegan. It was something
the
like
original
that.
title was "Why I'm No Longer Identifying as a Vegan" was the original title,
Okay.
and then I changed it until I don't even know what I changed it to. Why I'm no longer using the vegan label or whatever. Yeah. So I never said I'm no longer vegan. And in the very beginning of the video, I said, don't worry, guys, I'm vegan. I'm always going to be vegan. And you made the choice of wanting to discredit me so badly that you wanted to put the title.
John, John, I reused your title.
John Venus let me finish, man. John Venus, no longer vegan. And where you just kept discrediting me for not being vegan, for whatever reason. And not only that, but you're discrediting me as a fitness coach, as the work that I do, the work that I've done for years and years and years, all the people that I've worked with, that I'm a scammer, that I'm only in it for the money, and obviously at the same time trying to promote your own coaching and while discrediting mine. I mean, that's kind of shows.
Yeah,
what
John.
kind of,
John. I criticized you for lying. Look, John, I criticized you for lying. You were clearly just full of shit in that video. I didn't try to prove that you weren't vegan. Look, I didn't try to prove at that time that you weren't vegan. I just tried to prove that you were lying. Like, this was just an attention-seeking measure. Look, I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of somebody trying to capitalize off of veganism, like in such a way where you're basically trying to just get views and clicks to say by saying I'm no longer vegan. That's literally all you were trying to do. And I don't like the idea of trying to I don't like the idea of you trying to capitalize off of it in such a way.
How is it me trying to capitalize off of veganism by saying that I don't want to, use a vegan label? I just don't get it.
Okay,
how are you not trying to capitalize from it, from promoting your coaching while discrediting mine? I mean, you're the one trying to capitalize from that.
Look, John, that was like a joke at the end of the video.
No,
yeah, I was doing online coaching. I was doing
you
online
had it
coaching
up
at
for-
the time, and I thought it was like a
Exactly.
snarky joke at the end.
No, it wasn't.
And John, the reason it's capitalizing off of veganism, and in a way that I disagree with, is you're trying to make it seem as if veganism is a dirty word. Like it's something that you should be ashamed of, that you shouldn't associate with, as if you're basically trying to make veganism into a joke by making these stupid videos where I'm no longer vegan, I no longer identify as vegan. I don't like that. And look, you were clearly fucking lying in that video, and if you actually meant what you said, that video would still be up on your fucking channel.
Who's making veganism look bad here?
Who's making veganism look bad here?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm the one who's fucking telling you what veganism fucking is.
Well, I mean, just from your tone and just from your arrogance, it already answers the question.
Okay, so John, again, because I'm offending you, therefore I'm a bad
I'm not
advocate for
offended.
veganism?
I'm not offended. I'm not offended. I'm saying that you are extremely hypocritical in what you're saying. You're saying I'm trying to capitalize from certain things. I'm lying while you're doing the exact same thing.
Okay, explain. What am
Except
I
that you're,
doing? What am I
I mean,
lying about? What am I trying to capitalize off of? What am I being a hypocrite over? Explain.
you're first of all your income comes from criticizing and hating other people, from ruining their lives. People are getting
Okay,
their
show
lives
me.
ruined
Okay,
by
cool.
your
Show me
content.
how many people. Show me how many lives I've ruined. Furious
I can
Pete.
show that.
Let's see. Lex Fitness. Who else? How many lives have I ruined? Are these people homeless?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that
Well, John,
you
how many?
have.
John, tell me, how many fucking lives have they ruined exactly by eating animal products? How many lives?
Well,
How many lives do they take away? How many lives
so
do they
so
just
saving animals justifies being abusive towards humans. That is not what
abusive?
veganism
Okay,
means.
so words are abusive now, John?
Of
Me
course.
criticizing them for needlessly supporting the animal
Are you saying
products
words are
industry,
not
me
abusive?
criticizing
Words are
them
not
for
abusive?
being
I
just
don't know.
scientifically wrong with some of their claims, that's
Yep.
abuse. So the truth is
Words can
abuse
be
now.
abusive.
So the truth is abuse now.
Do you own the truth?
John, is what I said like honest? Is it true or is it wrong? Doesn't matter if you think it's abusive, doesn't matter if you think it's harming people. When I criticized Furious Pete, when I criticized Lex Fitness, Cali Muscle, any of these people, is what I said wrong? Is it inaccurate? Is it not true?
Yep.
Okay, so
100%.
tell me, what's wrong, not true, inaccurate?
Well, look, you've dealt with, like, it's hard for me to explain because you wouldn't understand it, because again, you've dealt with a lot. You
Okay, John,
operate
I'm a
from a
hell of a
different
lot
level.
fucking smarter than you. If you're trying to explain something and I don't understand it, that's because you're being stupid.
Okay, no, you're 100% more intellectually intelligent. I give you that. That's fine. You know, points for you, whatever. But what I'm saying is that you don't understand what, the emotional side of things, how that impacts other people. And obviously, words
How does it
can be
impact the animals,
extremely
John?
abusive. It can, huh?
How does it impact the animals?
I'm saying being abusive towards, like, being nice to animals, or even, even though you're still killing a lot of animals, like, you're not perfect, you're far from perfect, we all are. It doesn't justify being abusive and causing negative, emotions in other people, just because you're vegan. It doesn't justify that.
Okay, John, I don't give
I
a
would say it's
fuck
not
about
vegan.
anyone's goddamn feelings. If what I'm
Well, that
saying
is
is
why
true,
no
is
one's
what I'm
vegan,
saying is
because
accurate, that's all I fucking care about.
that
So
is
can
why
you
no one
show
goes
me,
vegan after
John, have I hurt
watching
your
your videos.
feelings? John, have I hurt your
Nope.
feelings? Okay, so
I
can you show me? Okay, so can you point me towards somebody's feelings that I've hurt? Can you show me their
Yes.
feelings? Can you show me bruises on their feelings, scratch marks? Have I cut their feelings open? I don't give a fuck, John. Feelings aren't something that actually exists. Look, if what I'm saying is true, if what I'm saying is
Feelings don't
accurate,
exist.
John, if what I'm saying is true, if what I'm saying is accurate, I don't give a fuck if it hurts somebody's feelings. Okay, John? And if you care so
Well,
much about feelings, then how about caring about how the fucking animals feel for once?
what about your actions getting people to double down on the animals that they kill? That is you doing that by attacking them personally.
Okay, well, guess what? That's their
You
fucking
don't care.
problem. Look, guess
Exactly.
what?
That
That's their
makes you
fucking problem.
not
People
vegan,
take everything.
right? By your
John,
own
John,
definition.
look, there are people who tell me, you know what? Because you pissed me off, I'm gonna eat twice as many burgers. And at the same time, there are people who said,
Sorry,
you know
man.
what, Vegan Gains, I needed to hear a
Sorry.
harsh, hard message like this. I'm glad that you were so upfront about it, and that's what made me vegan.
I know that
John, you can't
you
fucking
live on your
appeal to
channel.
every
It's a
single fucking
bubble.
person. John, you can't appeal to every single fucking person imaginable. So that's
I'm just
just too fucking
appealing.
bad. John,
I'm
you might
appealing
appeal to
to
certain
regular human
people. I
beings.
might appeal to certain people. Naturally, Stephanie might appeal to certain people. She has a demographic of women that I'm sure I can't really reach to.
What
So
I'm saying
look,
is that
just
your
because,
actions are not
John, just
very
because you can
vegan.
find a few fucking comments of people who are mad at me, that doesn't say anything about my methods of activism. Doesn't say anything about me being vegan or not, and it doesn't even say anything about whether or not my methods of activism are
I'm saying
effective.
it's very hypocritical of you to even believe that you have any drop of superiority over, me or anyone else,
Oh, really?
when you
So
are
I'm not
actually
superior to
when your
you, even though
actions
you needlessly support animal abuse. Okay.
when your actions have the way worse results than me eating 3 eggs.
Way worse
Your actions,
results.
100%, man.
So John, you're telling me that me being mean, offending a few people, that's worse than
Yeah.
you. Directly supporting an industry that forcibly
No.
breeds animals, that kills their male offspring shortly after they're born, and breeds them in such a way that gives them genetic diseases where they're going to suffer and die later in life. You're telling me that my mean words are worse than that?
No, I'm saying the actual effect of the words that you use have an impact, and that
Like
impact is a real
shit
impact.
and fuck? Those words?
No, I'm talking about you making veganism look so crazy that people move
What's
the
crazy
opposite
about what I
direction.
say? What's crazy about what I
Um,
say, John?
well, like I'm just using for example, when you're attacking people and using low blows and real personal attacks, and even you've done this. You know what I'm talking about. You've
No,
attacked a lot
tell
of
me
people before.
tell me, like you said, I'm saying crazy things. So give me one example of me saying something that's crazy. And
Well,
I'm assuming like crazy, something
wishing
that's
death on people,
delusional,
wishing
wishing
death on
death on
people, for
people.
example. Yeah,
Okay, like who?
like Furious Pete, and I'm sure you've wished death on other people as well.
So when Furious Pete wished death upon animals and made fun of their suffering and death, you're telling me it's crazy for me to give him a taste of his own medicine.
If the impact is that more animals are going to be hurt because of it, yes.
Okay, John, is it crazy to give somebody a taste of their own medicine? Is what I said there the
If
point
it's
I
not a
made?
vegan result, yeah.
No, John. Is the point I made valid?
It's not valid if you are saying that you're not, what I'm saying is that you are impacting animals by attacking these people.
No,
You are.
John, is what I said
You are.
valid or not? Is it logically sound?
What part of it?
Okay, it is okay. Me pointing out that look, Pete, you are making fun of the suffering and death of animals. How about I make fun of your suffering and death? You made a T-shirt where you were stabbing a cow to death with a fork. Well, I'm gonna make a T-shirt saying, "Haha, you're dying of cancer." Is the point
Yeah.
I made somehow invalid? Is it
It's
crazy? Is it not logically
yes.
sound? Is it delusional? How? Why?
It's crazy. I mean, I wouldn't say crazy, but it's it's not a positive thing that would help benefit anyone. Basically, it's not a
How?
positive result.
There are people who watched that video who said they went vegan after that because they realized how much of a hypocrite they were being. So what do you mean
Yeah,
not a positive result?
100%. I mean, like I'm saying that the net score might not be as positive as you think, and if you knew the actual, impact that you're having, maybe you would change the way you do
Okay,
things.
well, John, look, I'm not some sort
Are you
of
saying that? Are you saying
John.
that your
I'm
videos
not
will
some
never push anyone away from eating a plant-based
My
diet?
videos, like anyone else's videos, they're not going to speak to every single person. Okay, I'm not network television. I'm not trying to reach as broad an audience as possible.
But
I'm
what if your
saying
net
things.
impact is negative?
Okay, prove my net impact was negative.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying, what if it is?
Okay,
Have you
so then
considered that?
okay, John, was my net impact negative or not?
Maybe I can't say that.
Maybe. Okay, well, who cares then? Was what
Well,
I
I'm
was
just saying,
saying was what I was
why not
saying
take
sound? Was what I was saying sound? Was I
look,
making a good point?
what I'm saying, it's possible that the way you do things has a negative impact on the animals, the environment, and everything else. It is possible. I'm not saying
Okay,
it
so
is
me
true,
being
but
mean
it
has a
is
negative
possible.
impact on the animals and the environment. Cool story,
It's
John.
it's an absolute
So look,
possibility.
John. Um, I say mean words. You claim it hurts animals. You actually hurt animals, and you say it's not a big deal. So I think that's a
Um,
good place to end on.
I mean, you supported breeders, you bought animal
Yeah,
products for your
cool. Yeah,
dad.
cool. Let's just ignore the fact that we didn't know she was a breeder at the time. She made it seem as if she just owned dogs. She wasn't a breeder. Let's ignore the fact that we didn't actually buy the
Dude, you
dog. We
said your
adopted it.
IQ. You said your IQ is so high. How could you not know that? I'm just, dude. Well, come on, man. Come on.
Okay, well, I don't read minds. I can't see into the future. So yeah, that's that. IQ. Okay, so John, if
You
you
know
were
that
really smart, you'd
that
understand that
breed of
IQ
dog.
doesn't actually give you that ability.
these breeds only exist in like these that specific breed is a specific kind that you can only get in from breeders. So
No, no.
obviously,
What do
like
you
it
mean?
doesn't take a genius
What do you mean?
to
Prove
understand that.
that. What do you mean? Prove that.
Well, for the vast majority of cases.
Okay. What the hell does that mean? So
What I'm
she
saying
might have
is
bought the dog from a
it
breeder. Who
doesn't matter. It
cares?
doesn't matter.
We were friends.
I'm just saying that your actions, you've bought animal products, you've fed your dog animal products. That's
Yeah,
you're
because okay,
supporting.
John. So okay, John. Let's actually cover that. So when we
Yep.
got the dog, she was violently ill. We had no idea what the fuck the problem was. We were feeding her vegan food at the time.
Yeah.
And she kept losing weight, kept losing weight. Everything we did, we tried taking her to a vet, giving her like anti-diarrhea medication, stuff to help with her stomach. Didn't work. We had to stop her from fucking dying. She was going to die any minute. She was skin and bones. So what we did was
Okay.
we found a company that was selling animal products that weren't fit for human consumption. They just get fed for. A lot of people feed it to dogs, but some people actually buy it in bulk for livestock feed. So we bought that. It's
Yeah.
not like we were buying steak from the grocery store. That
Sure.
slowed down her weight loss a bit. And then eventually we found out that she had a genetic disease and she just needed a specific enzyme supplement. So then we put her on a vegan diet. That situation
Well,
where we were
why
trying to
why
stop an animal from dying that was under our care. By the way, if we
you're
didn't do
stopping
that, we could have
you're
been
it's so
prosecuted for animal
hypocritical.
abuse.
You're
No, it's
stopping
not.
an
No, it's
animal
not.
from dying by paying for other animals to die.
No,
It's
John,
hypocritical.
John, that's an animal that's under our care. If we didn't do everything we could, anything reasonable within our power to do that,
I'm
we
just
could have
saying
been
it's
prosecuted
hypocritical.
for animal abuse. Secondly, these were animal products that weren't fit for human consumption. It's not as
So what?
bad.
Doesn't matter.
And secondly, look, it doesn't look, John. This was a family member of ours. It's something that was under our care. I don't care
But
if it's a dog, a cat, a human being. Look, if you're not going to do whatever you have to do to ensure that something isn't going to die while it's under your care, I'm sorry, like, I don't support the idea
it's
that
okay
vegans should
to
starve
support
animals to
cruelty.
death. John,
It's
I'm not
it's
in support
okay
of
to
the
support.
idea. John, I'm not in support of the idea that vegans should starve their pets to death if they can't feed it vegan food. That's just
So
that's just bad
exactly.
from a
Well,
number of
that's the
perspectives.
exact. So it's okay to cause suffering as long as you're saving your own pets, but it's okay to cause suffering for other animals that is not part of your family because if they're not part of your family. It's okay.
No, John, this is a
That's what you're saying.
like John. No, that's not
That
what
is
I'm
exactly what
saying.
you're saying.
John, that's not what I'm saying.
Literally what
Look,
you
this
said
is
word by
outside
word.
the scope of our conversation anyway.
It
That's not
doesn't
what I'm
matter what
saying.
the
This is outside
conversation
of the
is.
scope of our conversation anyway.
No.
Look, the fact is, John, you had no justifiable reason to eat animal products. Look, if you want to have a debate about this later on, I'm totally fine. We can have a debate about this specific topic tomorrow if you want. But the fact is, you had no justifiable reason to eat animal products, and rather than just saying, you know what, this has been on my mind for a while, it's bothered me, I did something really stupid, I regret it, I'm never going to do it again. No, you just tried to just pass the blame off, say it's not a big deal, you don't care, like, whatever, I don't regret it. That's my issue with this. So look, John,
But
my
you said you
conclusion,
would,
my
said you would
conclusion
starve
still
yourself
stands.
and kill you. You said you would starve yourself and kill yourself before eating animal products, but at the same time, you're okay with buying animal products to feed to your own dog.
Look, John,
It
this is
doesn't
out.
make
Like,
any sense, man.
John, listen,
But you're
we can
criticizing
debate
me
this
for
tomorrow.
look.
John, look,
like,
we can
I'm
debate
just-
this tomorrow if you
Sure,
want.
sure,
This
sure,
is
sure.
outside
Yeah.
the scope of our conversation.
Yeah, I think we've. Yeah, I think you've proven yourself. Yeah, I think you've said enough.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for coming on. Maybe we can have this debate tomorrow if you're interested.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think we've said enough, and I think people can realize that you are not a perfect vegan. You're far from perfect. You're nowhere near as ethical as you think you are, and that is just the truth for every single person. We're all just trying to do our best, and that is me. I'm trying to do my best all the time. I'm an ethical vegan, 100%, and I'm always going to be a 100% ethical vegan. And what you're doing and what you're saying is not more ethical than what I did. It's not, and that is a very hypocritical thing to say, and that is my point of view.
Okay, cool. So basically, what you're saying is, if you're vegan, you want to try eating eggs, go ahead. There's no problem with that. It's not like that's any less ethical than, never doing that. So again,
I didn't say it was.
totally non-vegan position. Like, okay,
Yep.
whatever. If you want to
Yep.
pick up this
Sure.
conversation tomorrow,
Look, my
discuss.
position. What I did wasn't a vegan thing. What I did was not a vegan thing, and it's not something I'm proud of. It's not something that I like. But what you have done in the past as well, is not a vegan thing either, in my opinion. So
Okay, cool. So, look, if you're interested in discussing this tomorrow, furthering that conversation, message me on Facebook. We can set it up.
sure.
Thanks for coming on.
All right, man. Take care. Much.
Okay, let me put on my thing here. All right, and I'm going to open Streamlabs. I'll see what donations I've got. Okay, so we have, I think, 4 donations. So Wayward Hummus donated $2. He says, "Great job, Richard. You finished roasting this hypocritical animal-abusing liar in your previous 2 videos, and now you
This
have
is a
fully
test donation for $1.
and now you fully grilled him to ashes. I always found him shady and saw signs of him being a fake vegan. I'm glad you exposed him fully now." Yeah, look, I wouldn't call John vegan. I'd call him plant-based. And look, he might sort of agree with some of the vegan ethical principles, but he's clearly not an abolitionist. There's no justification for what he did. And throughout throughout both of his videos, throughout the entire discussion, he was not consistent with what he was saying at all, and he kept trying to, one, basically say what I wanted to hear, and 2, keep acting as if what he did was totally fine, not a big deal, forget about it, non-apologetic. So, I just say that he's a slime ball. He can't be trusted. But thanks for the donation, Wayward. Buttercup donated $5. He says, "Let's not forget that John Venus is one of the faces for vegan bodybuilding, and when he eats animal products for whatever reason, non-vegans will use it as ammo to say that vegans can't stick to their diet, vegans need protein, etc." Yeah, that's what makes it, especially disappointing that, he is a good, at least visually, a good spokesperson for veganism, but, it's a shame that he's so stupid and selfish that he thinks that, oh, you know what, I don't have peace of mind. I have this dumb idea that, maybe if I ate eggs, I'd feel better. What the fuck? Just honestly, what the fuck? He had a few back issues, felt a little depressed, and that was what, made him have the idea, you know what, it's fine if I eat eggs. It's fucking ridiculous. Obviously he doesn't really care about the animals that much. If that's what would really push him to eat animal products. But thanks for the donation, Buttercup. Appreciate it. Six God donated $2. He asks, "Do you like fellow Anthony Fantano, the Needle Drop? I only ask because he's a famous vegan like yourself." I don't watch too much of his stuff, but I've seen a bit. Some of his interviews were really funny. Haven't seen much of his sketch stuff, but
Did you
I've
destroy
seen...
this fake Fuker? This is animal cruelty. Just kidding. Veganism is strictly about non-human animals as per veganism definition, despite what fakes like him claim. Veganism definition separates animals from humans.
Okay, I'll get to that in a sec. Yeah, I've seen some of Anthony Fantano's stuff, and I like it. But thanks for the donation, Six God. Jane Doe donated $2. He says, he had eggs in his refrigerator, listen, a year ago. I think it was about 5 months ago. Somebody must have seen him eating eggs, and this is why he decided to come out. The whole story doesn't make any sense. Even for John, this sounds really fucking stupid. He even admitted that, you know what, if this had gone in the other direction where eggs made him feel so much better and everything, he still wouldn't have fed his kid, eggs. He still wouldn't have eaten animal products. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So I think he's hiding something. I think there's something going on where he felt pressured to make this video to kind of do preemptive damage control, cover his tracks. There's no way to know. I can't look inside of his brain, but he's just dishonest. So yeah, but thanks, Jane. Veggies for Thought donated $2. He says, life is a contradiction. I'm more trustworthy than you, which is why he hid egg eating for a year. Everyone cares more about themselves than the animals. I'm always going to be 100% ethical vegan. John Venus 2019. Loved the conversation. Yeah. It made no fucking sense. So many contradicting claims. Like, again, I think he wanted to try to make things easier on himself by just trying to say things that I wanted to hear, but at the same time, you know, try and pass it off as, oh, this wasn't a big deal, don't really worry about it. You know, not taking responsibility, so... Like, again, all I wanted to hear was, I did something stupid, there was no fucking justification for it, I wasn't in the right state of mind, but, you know, looking back, it was totally wrong for me to do. Don't recommend anyone ever doing this. It was dumb. Regret it. Never gonna do it again. That's all I'd want to hear. But from his 2 videos, oh, it's not a big deal, forget about it, why is everybody hating on me, I'm the victim, and he just did that same sort of game here. But thanks, Veggies. Wayward Hummus donated $7. He said, dude, you destroyed this fake fucker. This is animal cruelty. Just kidding. Yeah, dude, I totally agree with you. And I would say, for the most part, like, I think it is a good argument that vegan definition separates animals from humans. I think you could very easily make that claim. Like, at least in a practical sense, I think it is justifiable to, you know, say we can treat animals different than humans. You know, obviously putting animals through the sort of, I guess, stress that you'd put a person through. Like, it's different to treat humans and animals in a different sort of way. Because, look, at the end of the day, animals are the ones that are being mistreated the most. They're the most oppressed group in society, so... To say that we have to be as nice to people as we, you know, as animals, it's just kind of stupid. And people are assholes. They're shady, they lie. There's a lot of reasons why you'd not be as nice to people as you would animals. Humans have the intelligence to understand, you know, on a higher level what they're doing is wrong. And with those kind of people, you shouldn't be as nice to them as with animals. But thanks for the donation, Wayward. Appreciate it. Chunky B donated $5. He says, the fact that he brought up that you fed your dog meat products is ridiculous. Some animals, like certain dogs and cats, need meat, unlike humans, who are inherent herbivores. I disagree with that. A few years ago, you might have had a bit of an argument with the cat thing, but now there's vegan cat food that's not only vegan wet food, but they also make sure it's pH balanced so that their urine pH stays high to prevent from urinary tract infections. And right now there's so many vegan dog foods on the market, you can feed your dog a vegan diet. The only reason we had issues feeding our dog a vegan diet was because of her enzyme deficiency. And then once we figured that out, it was totally fine. And look, there's a lot of different reasons that, you know, if John wants to have the debate, where I would say it was morally justified for me to feed my dog meat for a period of time anyway. Like, look, the society we fucking live in, it's not really something we should be promoting, that vegans starve their animals to death. Not a great thing. We have similar laws with children. Like, there are religious beliefs that have ethical values where you shouldn't give blood transfusions. The government steps in and will say, no, you have to give your kid blood transfusions even if you ethically don't agree with it. I think there is a case to be made where if a being is unable to care for itself, if it's unable to, like a child, if it's unable to make a decision like that, you should step in and make a decision that's, you know, beneficial for its well-being, even if it doesn't agree with your ethical values. And lastly, like, again, the society we live in, if you actually deliberately starve an animal to death, you're guilty of animal abuse, you'll be thrown in jail. So there's a number of issues. And again, if John wants to debate this, we can go over it. But thanks for the donation, Chunky B. Appreciate it. So I'll read a few comments in the normal chat if anybody has any questions. Okay. Plants Rock donated $2. He asks, why was John trying to support his argument by comparing eating meat to avoid starving to death? To him, unnecessarily eating eggs. I guess I missed the part where he was starving to death and separately needed those eggs. Well, yeah, I mean...
So often you claim that you know a person's motivations without evidence. You will call a person a liar without evidence of their motivation at all. That is pure arrogance. No one is perfect. I like what you do for animals, but you need to reflect.
Okay, I'll answer that in just a second. John kept trying to do that. He kept trying to create this other kind of context. Like, the conversation was about him, whether or not what he did was wrong. When he started talking about these hypothetical situations, you know, it's fine to debate this if we're debating ethics, but it's outside of the scope of what the conversation was supposed to be. And again, if he wants to debate some of this, I'm totally fine. He can come on tomorrow and debate it with me. But, yeah, it's outside of the scope of what we were discussing. We were supposed to be discussing him, and he tried to keep, you know, avoiding, you know, any kind of criticism by creating these hypothetical situations that have nothing to do with his particular situation. But thanks for the donation, Plants Rock. Okay, so Neil Felon donated $10. So you're telling me that... you know, I'm calling him a liar without any evidence. Well, look, there's some pretty damn good evidence. He kept directly contradicting himself, not only in his own video, but throughout this whole conversation. He'd say things like, oh, well, life is a contradiction, rather than actually correcting his contradictions and saying what he actually meant. There was a lot of dishonesty going on. There was a lot of mental gymnastics. It's pretty clear that, look, he's lying on some level, he's being dishonest. I'm not just being ignorant, he's clearly being dishonest. So I disagree with you there. But I do appreciate the donation, Neil Felon. Rowdy donated $2. He asks, what John isn't understanding is that you were doing what you thought you had to in order to care for an animal that was in your care. Similar to what vegans who care for cats do, he experimented stupidly when he didn't need, considering the evidence. Yes, and even John himself said that he recognized that what he was doing was wrong. He didn't need to do it. It made no sense at the time. He didn't like the idea of it. So look, he was just being selfish, plain and simple. It's very obvious by everything, you know, he discussed, you know, his thought process, that he was just plain being selfish. He had no reason to. He had no need to. So comparing somebody feeding their animal meat like I had to with my dog, because or else it was probably going to die, a lot different than eating eggs because you had this stupid idea that, you know what, my back kind of hurts. I wonder if I eat eggs, my back will feel better. So yeah, two different things. And again, this is something that I'd be willing to debate with John if he is interested, but thanks, Rowdy. Six God donated $2. He asks, do you think Frank Defano is trolling, or does he have, like, serious mental problems?
Thanks for having me on. Much love.
Okay, well, thanks for the big donation, if that's actually John Venus. Appreciate it. Six God donated $2. He says, do you think Frank Defano is trolling, or does he have, like, serious mental problems? Frank has serious mental problems. He is... being as politically correct as possible, he is a very special boy. No one is going to eat raw, rotten, like, brains and liver and just a mess of crap that has been rotting in a jar for several months just because, you know, they're trolling. No, he has actual mental problems. He's messed up. So yeah, that's what's going on with Frank. But thanks for the donation, Six God. Yeah, I doubt that's John. I don't think that's actually John. For someone who still lives with their parents who hates me, I don't think he'd donate $100, but I appreciate the donation anyway, regardless. Okay, I'll answer any more comments or questions in the chat if anybody is. Yeah, why be politically correct? Like, again, this is a point that John tried to make to act as if, you know, I'm not perfect, I'm a bad person too. There's no need to be politically correct. People's feelings don't matter. If what you're saying is true, that's all that freaking matters. And look, there are people who resonate more with the truth than how it's said. There are people who resonate more with how it's said than the truth. I have my own audience of people that I appeal to, and it reaches, a certain demographic. I don't have any obligation to be as nice to everyone as possible. Chunky B donated $5. He says, didn't know there was vegan cat food, thought it was only dog food. Hopefully I can find some that can be ordered, as there isn't many options in New Zealand. Thanks for the info. I think the brand is Vocado. Jasmine, say it in the chat or link it in the chat, but I think the brand name is Vocado, and pretty sure they would be able to ship to New Zealand.
TH and keys for each having me on.
Okay, I'll get to that in a second. But, yeah, I think it's Vocado. Jasmine will, I think Jasmine can just link it or mention it in the chat. It's wet food, and wet food is better for cats in general because they're desert animals. They don't really have a system in place where they know whether or not they're dehydrated, so a lot of their moisture should come from their food. And it's also pH balanced. A lot of the issues with vegan cat food is that it causes their urine pH to become too high. The higher your urine pH, the more alkaline it is, so that makes them susceptible to urinary tract infections. That food is actually pH balanced so that it makes their urine pH low and acidic to prevent urinary tract infections, so it's really good. And I know a lot of people who feed that to their cats. They're totally fine, so it's the way to go for sure. But thanks for the donation, Chunky B. Hope that helps. Strong Chad donated $7. He says, thanks for having me on. Well, no problem, Strong Chad. Thanks, but appreciate the donation anyway, Strong Chad. Ugh. Richard's brutality does appeal to some people, speaking from personal experience. Yep. And look, at the end of the day, even if it spoke to nobody, I don't have any obligation to be nice to anyone. I don't have any obligation to be, a perfect human being who appeals to the, widest demographic. I can say what I want to say the way I want to say it. The only thing that really matters is whether or not it's true. Cats do better on a carnivore diet. Send me the research. I'd be interested to see. Send it to me on Twitter. Next gaming stream, just curious. That will most likely be tomorrow. Okay, looks like Jasmine's spamming Vocado, so there you go. Wayward Hummus donated $2. He says, thanks for having me on. Well, no problem, Wayward Hummus. I'll always have you on. But thanks again. Vegan Gains helps me keep sane. I've heard that. I've heard that for sure. Do you think you're perfect for not punching children? Very close. Maybe not quite perfect, but very close. Who is a person you are most likely to cage match? I want to say Isaac Butterfield because he actually agreed to it. Right now, the things holding that back is injuries that I've had. I have a back injury and a really bad quad injury right now. Can't even do martial arts at the moment. And he's in Australia, so kind of hard to set up a fight logistically speaking. Veggies for Thought donated $2. He says, thanks for having me on. No problems, Veggie. No problem. But thanks, dude. Maybe this weekend we could, hang out again or something. You made me go vegan so John can shut the fuck up, lol. Well, there you go. Another reason for John to shut his fucking mouth. Okay, I think I'm going to end the stream here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Since it's early, I might consider... Actually, no, I have some work to do. I'm probably going to stream tomorrow on my gaming channel. A lot of people have been asking me to do more streaming on my gaming channel. Still haven't played through that new Star Wars game. Can't even remember the name now, but... that'll go on tomorrow, but I'll answer this last one. Six String donated $2. He says, thanks for having me on. No problem, Six String. Thanks, dude. But I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hope this was enlightening, eye-opening, whatever. Maybe this changed your opinion of John, maybe it didn't. And big thanks to everyone who donated in the Super Chat. Really appreciate it. And as always, keep making those vegan gains. You only get a forearm flex tonight.